finished, and he's going around now talking to groups like us and students about traumatic brain injury and the book, and basically is on an informational crusade about this disease. So he's here to talk to us, and that's it. Thank you very much, Tom. Hello, everybody. As you can see, there are no visuals behind me, so this is a little different for you guys. I'm a writer, so I'm going to use my words to captivate you, I hope. I have my laptop with me. I have lots of things I could throw up on the screen if I wanted, but I'm doing this in the grand tradition of Mark Twain and, you know, old school before they had audio-visual. So I'm going to do a couple things this morning. I'm going to just talk to you a little bit. I'm going to read from my book a little bit, which is not because I'm flogging my book necessarily, but really because it's my way of finding touchstones to talk about specific topics related to traumatic brain injury. And then afterwards, if you'd like, we'll have time for some questions and answers. I'm from Buffalo originally. I grew up in Orchard Park for part of my childhood, and then I grew up right here in the city for the other part of my childhood. I left here after high school and really haven't lived here full-time since. Tom alluded to the fact I'm basically a writer, and I spent most of my adult life as a writer. So when I was finally well enough to think again and write again, my neurologists and my other doctors really encouraged me to write about my experiences, because I had the unique perspective of being both a caregiver to a very serious traumatic brain injury patient, my mother, as well as a victim myself. And I had my own accident was just serious enough that it took me right to the edge. But fortunately, it wasn't so serious it took me beyond the edge. I was able to come back. Whereas a lot of people would have been like my mother, there was no way they could have ever written about it or talked about it, or they were the other side, which they had a mild concussion or even a serious concussion, which is not the same as a traumatic brain injury, as you all know. So I'm not here to talk to you about the medical side of things. I'm not here to talk to you about intracranial pressure or shunts or drugs or, you know, all those other things that you get. I'm really here to give you the other side of the coin, which is what it's like to be a caregiver, what it's like to be a survivor, and how that feels, and what you can do to help survivors and the families of survivors to really get through something like this happening, which is a really, 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 really tough thing. Let me tell you, my family has been through cancer, my family has been through people dying of cancer, my family has been through other, you know, divorce and other things. Traumatic brain injury is tough, there's no doubt about it. So, this is the book. This is called Passage to Nirvana. And it's kind of a double entendre. I actually live on a sailboat called Nirvana. But it's also because I was able, thanks to people like you, thanks to many doctors and therapists, psychotherapists, I was able to finally find my way back to a, you know, a place of being in a good place after everything that happened to my mother and to myself. So that's why I wrote the book. I really wrote the book to help people, to help caregivers and survivors. And I just want to read you an email that I got 2 nights ago. It was sort of serendipitous. The book has just been published. It's only been out a few months, and it's just becoming known. I was driving over here this morning, and there was an interview with me on WBFO. It was pretty funny to hear myself on the radio. And I'm on, as Tom referred to, I'm on a bit of a crusade, because I think there really is not as much awareness of TBI as there should be in our society. There's starting to be much more, unfortunately, due to all the kids coming back from Iraq with traumatic brain injuries, due to a lot of the professional athletes that are suffering traumatic brain injuries. But it still is not as well understood as it should be. And here's an email that I received from a woman who I don't know, but she had just found my book somehow. And I got this the other night, and this has been heavily edited because the actual email was obviously written by a traumatic brain injury patient. There was a lot of misspellings and a lot of typos and a lot of sort of things. I had to kind of condense it and try and figure out what she was trying to say to make it understandable. But here's what she wrote. I don't know where to start. Picking up your book, and I'm halfway through and had to put it down. Felt as if a rug was pulled from under my feet. Felt as if you were talking to me about me. I can identify because I've been living with this for some time, only my neuro said it was a severe concussion. My parents don't know, my brothers don't know, and have kept this from my friends. Judged crazy, senile, etc. My husband is wonderful, but I know he secretly wishes for the old me. I left work because of post-traumatic stress, depression, vertigo, and short-term memory loss. Last year I slipped and fell, now can only think of simple words. So she's actually had 2 brain injuries. Her first one, which in her email she had said to me was a bathroom accident. She slipped and fell in the bathroom and hit her head, I think, on the corner of the tile or something. And then because she now has vertigo and other problems, she had another fall. Why I was released from the ER still baffles me. I wonder some days how I managed to go on. I wish I can be me again. And there are about 10 exclamation points after that. I once was everyone's everything, the one you could count on, the one who took care of everyone and everything. Now it seems I can't even count on me. I'm sorry, this is difficult for me sometimes because these are the same emotions that I went through and that I've talked to many other traumatic brain injury patients that they go through, because you really aren't you anymore. You're wondering what's happened to you. Where have you gone? Most of the time I go into hiding so I won't be judged or questioned. I don't even share this with my husband. I don't want him to see me any weaker than I am. Can't read right now, I'm in tears. I used to read a book in a day, now it seems like forever. End up reading a sentence over and over, my mind goes God knows where. Thanks for listening. I'm so sorry to go on, but I feel a kindred spirit. I'm not alone. So, what can you do for somebody like that? How can you help her? Well, obviously I've helped her a little bit just by writing the book. But here is an instance of a woman who probably shouldn't have been sent home from the ER. I mean, who knows what the real medical conditions were, what she presented and why she was sent home. But she's obviously not getting the help she needs. She's not able to reach out to family and friends. She talks about how her parents don't know, her brothers don't know. She can't reach out to her husband. She's really suffering. There's no doubt about it. So, what do you do for somebody like her? It's not about, specific medical things that you do. It's really more about caring. It's about how you figure out as a physician to listen to her, to reach out to her, to help her if she comes to you for help. So that's really the crux of what I'm here to talk to you about.